Hey fam, what's going on? This is Jessica Pickens. Welcome. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our Blended Family Truths podcast. All right. Well, good. Well, it's morning for us. I don't know whatever time y'all gonna be watching this, but good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our Blended Family Truths. We are coming today with our second episode, our second taping. We are super excited as we are learning and growing together and getting into this. And again, I'm Jessica Pickens. I'm the mom and the wife of the Pickens family.
I'm Jayla. I'm the oldest daughter, the elite athlete, the all-around citizen. I am me.
She is the oldest daughter. So we're going to do this every time, y'all. Y'all just going to get, gonna flow with us. But we are the Pickens family. Jayla actually said years ago that we should do a reality show. We'll get into that. We're going to talk to our guy about it.
It's hard
you know. But this is a little easier. We got to ease our way into some things. We are the Pickens. I am Jessica Pickens again. So glad that y'all are tuning in to hear from us as we share our story, our blended family truths, to give a little bit of background, just so that for those that may be hearing or interacting with us for the first time, I met and married my husband, phenomenal man, the love of my life, Tyrone Pickens, in 2002. And we met and married within 90 days, y'all. 90 days. I know she's going, oh my God. Well, and so if you haven't seen it already, the first podcast that we did was called The Meet, MEET. And Ty was on that podcast as we talked through and talked about what it was like when we met in the beginning of our marriage. I am so grateful to say that through a lot of prayer, through a lot of work, we will be 22 years strong as a blended family this December. When we met and married, I was a single mom. I had, my one son who I had out of wedlock. I had never been married. And Ty had full custody of his 3 children from his first marriage. He had Eric, Dominic, and Jayla. So I had a Jayla and he had a Jayla, the baby girl at the time. But of course, she's the big sis now. So we immediately blended the elite. She's the elite. My bad. I'm going to get her a shirt, y'all, that says the elite. We immediately met. We blended our 4 children out the gate. Again, go back, listen to the first episode. We'll keep peeling all of this stuff back. And then we had 2 additional children together, Dawson and Gabby. We affectionately call the babies. The babies are 20 and 19 now. No longer babies, y'all. But we have 4 boys, 2 girls in total. And we actually have another young lady that we took in who became a part of our family about 18 years ago that neither one of us were, but you can't tell her she didn't come from us. And that is Courtney. So
that's the big sister.
That's the big sister. She's the oldest out of them all, y'all. And y'all will get to meet her. I'm excited. So I've actually talked to her, Jayla. You don't even know that she's going to be coming in. Yep. And she's going to come join us on the set as soon as we get it figured out with flights. She's checking kids' school breaks. And so you guys will get to meet Courtney and hear her perspective of being a part of our blended family. But the goal here, everyone, we are sharing our Pickens realities and our blended family truths. So the purpose of helping other people. We all know that life be life in y'all. And like I was a single mom, right? I never married the father of my firstborn son, although I knew I wanted to be married. And so inevitably that meant I was going to be a part of a blended family. There are lots of, what's the word, Jayla? Types of blended families, where maybe one of the adults has children, the other one doesn't. Both could have kids. We both had kids, but I had never been married. Your dad had been married to your mom. There are lots of different variations of what a blended family can look like. People who adopt children, that can be considered a blended family. If you have your own biological children and then you adopt children, it's blended. And so the whole point of sharing our Pickens realities and our blended family truths is to be able to help other people to utilize our experiences and really for us, testimonies, y'all. Testimonies on what we went through to help other people avoid some of the pitfalls and looking back, honestly, for me, I know I made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't think perfect exists. His name was Jesus. And while I do my best, it doesn't exist. And so we want to be able to share the things that we learned with the hopes of being able to bless other people and to be able to help other people go, okay, I'm not alone. Oh, wait a minute. Let me pause. Let me, if you are preparing to become a blended family, we got stuff for y'all. We have a lot of information.
Yeah. And I think also the biggest misconception that people have with our family is because we're so like close, we have a great bond and stuff, that they think that this is a walk in the park. And it's not.
No, bruh.
At all.
It is not. It takes, it took to get to be able to remain a family. Again, a lot of work, a lot of prayer, a lot of counseling. Y'all know, if you watch my stuff on social media at Jessica Pickens Realities across all the platforms, go and look, check out YouTube, check out the videos. I will always, always, always advocate for professional counseling, because we all need it, y'all. Yes, talking to your girlfriends or talking to your guys is your free therapy, and that's cool. But being able to engage with professionals that could literally help us peel back the layers and help us understand each other's perspectives and see things from a different way, and getting someone who was objective and unbiased, but wanted to help us get through to whatever was going, get through and get over to the other side of whatever the issue, or for us issues were.
Yeah. I be
is
feeling
important.
like that's a big thing too. Like therapists, I always tell people like therapists are people that let you talk about your situation and hear how you sound. And
That's
then
right.
ask you questions about, okay, so you said this, like explain more about why you said you don't like Barney because he's purple. You hear how you sound, like,
and they're not.
but yeah, they don't just.
They're not coming with, oh, well, that's my favorite, so I'm going to lean towards, what she's saying or what he's saying because I think that person's right, So anyway, we'll get into more of that. We're just gonna. So today, I'm working Jayla double time, y'all. So Jayla is my co-host. We're gonna do this thing together. I'm so grateful. She's thebomb.com. She's a creative. I'm more of a scientist, analytical person. So she, her being willing to work with me to do this together is phenomenal. But today she working 2 jobs because she's co-hosting and she's also my guest. So, woo! That's right. We talked about the meet in the first episode, and you interviewed your dad and I, just going through what it was like to meet, what our experience was out the gate. And so today, we are going to talk about the meet from one of our children's perspectives, Miss Jayla Marche's perspective, sitting over here. And we want to be able to give you all the various angles, right? The mom, the dad, the children, and really be transparent. And listen, again, disclaimer, this is not real comfortable, everybody. It's not, let me get out here and just tell all my business because I want to be seen. No, this
was
is scary.
For me. I was very I'm an open book. Okay,
this is true. But she been trying to get us to do this for a long time. But for me, being older and with the background that I have, and professionally, I was very private for a reason. So anyway, I'm just saying, y'all. This really is not about trying to be seen or any of that. It's about to help other people. But we want to talk today about Jayla's perspective. So I'm going to be asking her some questions, but she's going to also ask me some questions as we talk about the dynamics of our relationship. And so at being her bonus mom, and we got good stuff for y'all too, because her mom is actually going to be a guest on our podcast as well, coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. Be looking for that. From our perspective, let me explain. We use the term bonus mom, bonus dad, and we don't even, like when we're out and about, we don't even really use that. We use it when
like explaining to people our dynamic, but like even then it's just like, she's my mom, that's my dad, like stepmom, stepdad. Like, I don't know. We don't.
Well, what I was going to say, well, we don't, but a lot of people use the term stepdad, stepmom, my stepsister, stepbrother. From the beginning, we never did that. So one, you guys, and this is a little bit of, we were going to do this. This was going to be one of our posts, so we can still do that too. But it's a mindset thing, you guys, right? So and I'm going to make a t-shirt for real. So y'all hearing it first, but I'm a bonus. I'm not a step. Think about connotation, right? And so your mindset, certain words give people certain images. And to me, in my opinion, my Pickens reality, when you say stepmom, that's way more negative than saying, oh, this is my bonus mom, when you're having to explain the dynamics, right? And so just so y'all know, we feel there's a difference in terminology, and words matter. Again, we are people of faith, and words matter. And so when I say I'm a bonus mom, I'm not a step anything, that I mean that for real, right? And so anyway, we want to talk about Jayla's perception. So again, that we had 4 children out the gate. She was the only girl, and she was the baby girl, Ty's baby girl, but also the baby of the group together, because Jaylen, my firstborn son, fell in second. Eric's the oldest, then Jaylen, then Dominic, then Jayla. So when we met and married, Eric was 9, Jaylen was 8, Dominic was 7, and you were 5. And so we want to get into what this was like from her perspective. And so I'll ask the first question, and I just want you to talk to me about what was it like from your perspective, as best as you can remember. Again, we're almost 22 years later, but what was the meat, MEET, y'all, right? What was the meat like from your perspective, as best as you can remember?
I don't even know how to even start that, because the meat was literally just that. It was like, hi, how are you? I'm here, but
and then bam, you were living in the house.
When y'all got married, that was virtually that was the worst day of my life. It was the worst day of my life.
No kidding, y'all. What? She was mean bugging me all throughout the wedding. We have pictures. She was not happy.
It was terrible because, a little background, before my dad and mom, before they got married, my dad was in a...
You're going to have to cut that. Cut all the eye rolls.
No, you ain't got to cut nothing.
Okay, yes. Just be
you
respectful.
You ain't got to cut nothing. My dad was in a tumultuous
different relationship
with an individual that definitely had some demons on her.
Oh, don't do that.
No, that's my reality.
I understand, so he'll have to cut this. But seriously, you have to be.
I'm being so serious.
I understand that, and this will be edited out. But please, I want us to be respectful of all other people. Being respectful? You can't say someone had demons. That's your perception.
To torture children.
Oh, just say.
Okay.
Come on, Marche.
So my dad was in a tumultuous relationship with an individual that I didn't care for at a very young age. So she definitely skewed my view on how I felt about my dad and women, outside of my mom. And let's be clear, my dad wasn't outside of my mom. The lady was probably the only lady I think I've ever encountered before Mom Jessica. That's what we say, Mom Jessica, Mom Jerry. Okay, that's what we be saying.
You got to make sure people know that that's your mom's
so Mom
name.
Jerry is my mom. Mom Jessica is Mom Jessica. So it was just, here we go again. That's how I felt.
That's fair.
I also felt after just getting to a place of having my dad back, in a sense, I lost him again to,
another person, another woman, another
woman.
Relationship.
And I'm a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. So it's just I wasn't
really... y'all. Yes, they are. Both the girls.
I wasn't even really I don't know. I feel like it was kind of I say that lightly the worst day of my life, because as a child, everything is just so like over dramatized. But
That's
like,
fair.
It was just upsetting because I couldn't see him at all that day. I was doing hair and getting dressed and with y'all, and I'm like, this is terrible. Where's my dad? Like how Isabel is with me, like after a certain point. So, for all points and purposes, after seeing my dad happy, that was like a big thing for me. Like at the reception and the song by Fred Hammond, "Show Me Your Face" came on. I'll never forget this, but like, and you guys were dancing and stuff, and like I could see how happy he was. Like I was like, okay. So I felt a little more calm. I let my hair down. Then when we moved in, I'm like, wow, like I got a bigger bed, like I got a better room, you know. And don't get me wrong, my room was definitely turned, even though we didn't have anything. But
you were actually
it was,
already living there.
Right. So it was just like the merge for me wasn't terrible. It was just more or less like skepticism of like, how is this person going to treat me because of what I had just previously experienced?
Okay. That's fair. And you know what? We've never even talked about it. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think, you know, that's one of the reasons why we're actually doing this, right? Is so that other people can go, wait, okay. Taking the time to allow your kids to unpack whatever the past is before that has occurred when you're getting ready to blend a family is super important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been coming on 22 years. I've never heard you say that. And we've had a gazillion conversations, right? So I think that's, man, that actually helps me. It makes me feel better. It actually helps me heal because now it helps me put things in context. And so again, you know, when you are preparing to become a blended family, this is exactly why being able to sit down and, again, I'm going to keep saying, y'all, get professional counseling that allows each individual person, not just the adults, the children too, be able to talk about what it means to become a blended family and talk about what they're feeling and talk about their perspective.
I was literally just having this conversation last night. And the guy I was having a conversation with, he was like saying like, why do you would be living for your child if you know, pick who you date. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you can't always do that or whatever. And I'm like, but you have to. Like, just given personal experience, like your children, their development mentally and emotionally is predicated upon their parents' mental and emotional health and their relationships and what they go through. And I don't think people really understand and grasp the magnitude of that. And the vital years for children are between the ages of like 2 and 6 or something like that. And so it's like those years like and that's probably why, like, now that I'm thinking about it, why Dom and Eric, their transition was just like whatever, because they were
older, they were past, like, that early, super early. That makes sense. It's just like, that makes sense,
especially given like all the things that you would go through as a parent, as a single parent, like even being married. Like, you don't want your kids to see fluctuation all the time in your moods, and you're mad at them because
you've had a bad day.
Right.
Because you've had a bad day.
So yeah, I think maybe had there been like, even if it wasn't like a huge like, we need a counselor and all, if it hadn't been like a conversation, we all went out to eat or something. Correct.
Which we did. Yeah, we just didn't. We skipped that part. And that's one of those things that I would do different. I absolutely would do different.
What was your biggest fear when finding out you had to help raise a daughter?
I didn't really have a fear. I was excited about gaining 3 children with my husband to be, if you will. Like, again, when when I approached your father, as far as inviting him to the barbecue, which is where the meet happened, we met at church again for people that, and when I came in and invited, because of course when we first saw each other, y'all were not there, so I wouldn't have known that he had 3 children because he was putting the playground set together, at the church, right? And so then when we were inside, and I was like, hey, I'm part of the young adult ministry. We're having this barbecue. We're having a get together at my house. You're welcome to come. And he was like, well, I don't know if you're going to, your dad, and always joking, right? I don't know if you're going to have enough food because I have 3 children and that my 3 kids don't have to come with me. And I was like, there's going to be plenty of food, so I didn't flinch. I didn't go, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And so there was never a fear about, of course, because I had been a single mom, but just raising one son. So I understand the premise of your question, right? But I was excited. I was excited because to me, ever since I was a child, I've always wanted a big family, and that came from a place of, again, I had 2 siblings. My younger brother is deceased, but with my mom and dad, there were 3 of us. And then I have other siblings that, through my dad,
right.
But we were not raised together. I keep saying, okay, y'all, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get better at this. However, due to not having the family experience that I really wanted as a child, for me, being married and having a big family was always like the most important thing. Because I wanted to be able to give to my children something that I didn't get, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So there was never a fear about all of a sudden I have a 5-year-old daughter. It was more excitement because I just always felt I had enough love in my heart. Ooh, don't do that. To be a good mom for however many children God was going to bless me with. So I was actually excited. And when meeting your dad, and again, we got acquainted super fast, on a super expedited schedule, but given what I knew from the beginning conversations and given, as we continue to grow in sharing information, just as far as the history on what, had occurred with him and your mom and the divorce, and then where he was with that previous relationship, it hurt my heart for y'all more than him, if that makes sense. You see what I mean? Because given that I had gone through my parents being divorced, and my mom didn't remarry until I was well grown. So I didn't experience a blended family scenario. I just experienced, and I only remember very tiny little things. There are 3, 4, 5 significant events that I remember when my parents were married. And that's it. But because they were divorced when I think I was 5. I'm pretty sure I was 5 because my brother was like 9 months and he was 4 years younger than me. I was just raised by a single mom. So it was more, I was excited. I wasn't scared to become a girl mom, right? Yeah. To have a daughter, a 5-year-old daughter. Boom, there she is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so to kind of piggyback on that, how did you feel specifically? I mean, I thank you for sharing how you felt about the situation and why you were upset based on the previous relationship your dad had not long before meeting me had come out of. But how did you feel specifically about me and gaining a bonus mom that fast? And just, so outside of your dad and the situation, so pretty much same question, I think is what we're asking each other. And we didn't rehearse these guys, right. And we didn't know who had what questions. So they're really kind of flowing. Easy. Yeah.
I'm scared. Honestly, I don't think I necessarily had like real emotions about you. I think that didn't form until I more or less got like older.
Mm-hmm. That preteen, teenage year era.
Yeah, I think.
And those emotions were not good, but we'll get into that.
I think that's when I started forming emotions, because I feel like it was more like I'm playing with my brothers all the time. I have my brothers. Do
you feel like it was more, you kind of boxed me out or categorized that you had your mom, so you weren't viewing me as your bonus mom or as a mom because that's just where you were?
Yeah, I don't think I like categorized you as like an extra. Like I quite literally feel like I was going through the motions.
Mm.
I mean, and now looking back on it, I possibly feel like I was in like trauma brain.
Mm.
And so I was probably like just going through the motions of everything.
So I say you just kind of probably emotionally I'm not dealing with that. Okay.
Probably. Because again, like the things that I had experienced, like I'm already here. But having someone, I guess, in the house that's mom, like that did feel good because, my dad and mom weren't together. And I don't even really remember that being a thing because I just remember being with my dad. I don't even really remember when they got divorced.
Well, you were an infant, from
right.
what I understand. Yeah,
so
you were less than a year old when that happened. So
having to have that and just like the home feeling of like, mom's making food, dad comes home from work, we're all chilling, all the kids are doing whatever they do. So I feel like
you enjoyed the family feeling and environment and having a complete circle, even though you weren't particularly appreciative
right.
of who the person was based on
right.
the negative experience you had prior to your dad not getting together. I understand.
I feel like I was just coasting. I feel like, thinking hard about it, like I just feel like I was in overdrive.
And see, this is another important point, I think, to share with people because go right ahead.
Can I share?
Absolutely.
So for context, the lady my dad dated was unfavorable of me in regards to my dad. And now that I'm older, I feel like it was kind of like maybe a
competition sort of thing
situation of, she has all your attention, she has all your time. So I'm going to take out my frustrations and angers on her. And she would do things to me, not my brothers. And I just felt like targeted. So it was very hard at a very young age to like have like real trust, I guess, outside of my grandma, my aunts, my mom. And don't get me wrong, don't come for my dad, because, he was there, but it's just like he didn't see or...
Well, it's not like he was aware of this either.
It's not like he was aware of it, but certain instances, I feel like it was a situation, a video I watched where it was like, you never get the same parent. Mm-hmm. Every child has a different parent. You can grow up in the same house, but every child will have a different parent because of the stages they're in their lives, right? And so I feel like the parent that I got when he was in that relationship was more or less like survival mode parent. And then the parent that I got when you guys got together was more or less like, okay, like I can relax. I can start, not being so tense. I have structure. I have stability. So I feel like once that happened, it kind of made it easier for me to, I guess, engage with you. Because I guess more or less like he felt safe, so I felt safe.
That makes sense.
And with the other lady,
that wasn't
there
the
wasn't
case.
safety.
Okay.
On his end or our
Got
end.
it.
You know
Got
what I'm
it.
saying? Like you get
I do.
Especially from the situation. So it's like it was survival. So that's probably why I was in such survival mode after a certain point. Then it's like, okay, this is reality. Like it's setting in. Like, okay. Because I think when I went to Ridgely is when everything started like rolling. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. But that makes sense to me. Again, it's amazing how you can get a better understanding when you talk through things and look at them hindsight as far as when you've grown, when you're mature, when you've grown spiritually, mentally, emotionally, the whole nine, and you're able to look back and go, man, that's what was really going on. And y'all just might as well know we got a grandbaby on the set today.
My child is here.
Talk about transparency.
So there's going to be some stuff.
Make sure you get your physicals and your immunizations done, or the daycare is going to say they can't come back until you had the appointment.
Well, she had them done, but
she needed a physical.
Yeah.
Now, but people got to have their paperwork in order. So Is a Wiz is on the set. So if y'all hear a Is a Wiz or a mommy, she's in the background.
The story of our lives.
There we go. But that's just real. It's real talk. It's okay. So, but that really is helpful, and it actually because for me, and this, we've talked about this, but for a very long time, I just felt like it was me, like you didn't like me, like it was something wrong with me as a person. Which goes along with, again, we did a recording talking about mistaken identity. It was never my issue, right? Where I talked about that. And I didn't really tie that into how that related to blended family stuff, right? Which I realized that after the fact, but that's exactly how it ties in, because it ties in because every person, you bring your issues, your stuff, your luggage, your baggage to the table, and it impacts the entire family, positive, negative, neutral, all the things. And so if my perception was you just didn't like me, you navigated the best you can as an adult, but now you've got this tug of war. Is my marriage going to last because I feel like I don't have a healthy relationship with one of the children? Right. And I know that there are parents who struggle with relationship with their biological kids. Right. So this is not just something that is a topic or issue with blended families. I mean, that's the truth. I've literally had people say, that ain't just blended family stuff. That's happening in our family, and there's no blend, there's no step, there's no bonus. These are our kids and we have the same issues. And so when you're peeling that back, though, I think it's important to assess. So to that point, whether you're a blended family or a traditional family, right? Taking the time to get over some of that cultural stuff. Oh, you're a kid, you don't have no say. So, you know what I'm saying? Or just having, I think that can be really detrimental, because again, as you just explained all of that, understanding your context, it totally makes sense to me now. You know what I'm saying? And it makes my heart hurt to know that at 5, you were experiencing that level of trauma for real, right? And not intentional on your dad's part.
That lady just had some problems.
Okay,
child.
well, I'm gonna
leave it at that.
We're just gonna,
leave it at that.
Because our goal here is not to look, but again, everybody, like, a lot of this stuff is hard, right? And so we never want to throw shade. We never want to be disrespectful. At the same time, an individual person's perception and their reality is their reality, right? And so, but we want to be mindful of, our conversations involve other people that are not a part of this or may not be aware or whatever. So we just always want to be super respectful of that. And again, this is about God getting the glory and about helping other people. This is not about throwing shade. So just, that's where we're coming from. So I thank you. To sum all that portion up, thank you for digging deep enough to really peel back and go, what was really going on? And I just do also want to say I'm so proud of you and who you are and where you are. I'm very grateful that we were able to work through some really, really challenging and rough spots with us individually, and we'll get, people that you and I had had some serious relationship challenges, just like your dad and Jayla had serious relationship challenges, which literally at one point just about brought us to the point of we were literally talking about and considering divorce. And so the fact that we were able to work through that's a whole, we'll deal with that. We'll get into that later. We won't get into that now, but I'm just very grateful. And I'm grateful that you chose to come to a place where you were able to consider and assess the possibility of good, healthy relationship with me. So I'm grateful for that.
I mean, I feel like that lots of therapy, lots of self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Like the conversation we had a week or so ago, it's just the things that I've gone through personally. I've had to go through them personally, and like looking back on it, a lot of experiences I kind of felt alone or inadequate, or felt like they're not gonna believe me or they're not gonna understand or whatever. And I really now feel like that was just, I don't know, it may not even really be that. It was probably me in my own way, and like the devil trying to get me to like stay in myself and in my brain. But I also feel like it was a way for me to be who I am today. Like I'm so like more or less tough, I guess.
A little too tough for my taste, but y'all listen. I'm a very huggy, touchy, feely. I like to demonstrate and express love because I didn't, and that's my background, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm very expressive because that's what I've always wanted, and I didn't really have. I had that from my mom. Again, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. My mom was she always showed love and expressed love, and shared it verbally, hugs and all of that, and I'm grateful for that. I did not get that from my dad, and so I think part of me being able to make up for that, I literally, when I would see my dad and be with him, because it wasn't consistent. Right. I would always be like, "I love you, Dad," and he like wouldn't respond. So I would be like, "I said I love you," and I would like make him hug me and kiss me, to show affection when it wasn't automatic. It wasn't natural for him. Right. Now, later, towards the end, when I got older, and if you remember, like he would come visit the house and stuff, mm-hmm. He did in the end. He would, so I kind of warmed out, right? Yeah. But the fact that you are not that way, like I kid y'all not, this is so funny. Like me and Jayla, we were talking the other day, and I went to, and I took a step towards you, and you took a step back, and you were like, "Why are you getting so close? What are you doing?" And so even when you have to consider, I have to choose not to be offended. I have to choose to go, there's not some, or and I have to choose not to feel rejected, right? Because it really isn't about me. You're like that with everybody. You don't like people in your face, in your space. You're touchy-feely with your daughter, yes. And obviously you got a baby. So, you know, you touchy-feely in some situations. But I had to learn that, but because of my baggage and my background and having to become, you know, go through healing as far as insecurities and always, again, the mistaken identity, right? Always thinking something was wrong with me as to why people didn't treat me the way I wanted, when really this is not that. This is just, hey, you're just not that type of person. It had nothing to do with me.
Right.
It has to do with, that's just who you are and a preference, right? And so it's like, so note to self, y'all, the moral of that story is anytime I can get a hug from Jayla, and Gabby's like that though.
Yeah, Gabby.
Yeah, so our baby girl, which is weird, right? So again, I think it's the Tyrone. I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Gabby's like me. I can't say 2.0 because she ain't even really like, I'm me 2.0. But Gabby's like me, but Gabby's more like, she's like a socially antisocial person.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, that is a good description.
I feel like that's how I feel like that, low-key, I feel like that's how we all are.
That is how you are. That is, yeah, you and her both like that. And Jayla too.
I feel like that's how we all are. Like Dom's the most social of us all.
Which is crazy because he was the quietest, most introverted as a child.
Yeah.
As a child, he was.
But college, Japan, right?
That's true.
His horizon.
That's true.
And college but
that's true.
I feel like we're all kind of like, yeah, I like you. We can sit and have conversations, but enough is enough.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's your turn.
That brought me to my next question.
Yes.
What was the biggest struggle you've had? What was your biggest struggle you had in our relationship? Like something that was hard for you to grasp?
Well, the biggest struggle for me was when you hit the teenage years and we really began to tussle because you were trying to figure out who you were as a person. Mm-hmm. And I felt I was seeing you exhibiting behaviors that triggered me in ways that I used to do things that was attention seeking because I didn't have my dad. I would do things to get attention because there was a hole in my heart.